Hey, what's up YouTube? Today I'm going to be talking about my update on the move. So as you know, I moved to Dallas in June 2017. Now it is December 2018, right before the new year. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you all about what things have been like since that move and all that. So of course, I have another video called Why I Moved to Texas. And that Texas video has gotten me like so many views and so many comments and everything. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all the haters, the likes and everything. Today I'm going to be talking about the update to that. All right. So I have just many observations and I'm going to share it in a pros and cons list. I do have a phone here that I'm reading off, so I just want to let you guys know that. All right. So now we're going to get to the pros and cons list, with which I'm going to start off with the pros. So the first one is the cost of living. I know that Texas is a conservative state. I know California is a liberal state. I am a conservative. I know people kept hitting me in the last video saying, yo dude, get out of Texas, do whatever. You know, if you want to read up all the comments on that other video, go ahead and do so. It's quite hilarious. So cost of living and tax differences. Of course, Texas has no state income tax, whereas in California I was paying like 10% state income tax. So I pulled every paycheck I had between Texas and California, and I realized the following. So in California, I was taking home 53% of my income in my IT job, whereas here in Texas, I get 64% of my income. So that means if your income is $10,000 a month, you know, like six figures, that means you get $6,400 a month in Texas, and you get $5,300 a month in California. Simple as that. Now, if you own a property, you're getting double dipped in California. And here's what I mean by that. Because you got your state income tax, which is the 10%, and then you got the 1.27% property tax. So what that means is, think about it this way. Like, what could you spend your $1,100 of monthly savings on? You know, like, now that you're saving money in Texas, you could do more traveling, which is exactly what I do. Guys. You see all my videos on YouTube, it's all about travel. The V8 Corvette. So I actually bought a V8 Mustang recently. Jet skiing on Joe Pool Lake. Yep, I can afford that now. I can do 500 rounds a month at the shooting range with my Ruger P89, so that's pretty cool. Bills. So the energy is significantly cheaper here, and you can select a power company. So in Texas here, I pay 5 to 10 cents a kilowatt. My gas bill is like 27 bucks. My electricity bill is like 50 to 80 bucks a month. So it's not bad. And even in the summer, it's about the same. So it's really not bad at all. Now in California, you have the Southern California Edison, which is a monopoly because it is like a tiered rate plan starting from 18 cents per kilowatt. And it goes all the way up to 35 cents a kilowatt, which is quite crazy. So in the summer months, you're talking about $300 to $400 a month to cool in California. Here in Texas, the gasoline's pretty cheap. I actually filled up my car today. It was $1.52 per gallon. That is ridiculous, guys. And in the summer, it was like $2.60. That is still crazy. When I fly back to California, I realized that the gas prices there are at least $1 a gallon more, so that's quite high. Now the weather. So the weather between September and May is quite temperate, and it does get colder than California, but it does not get as cold as like Indianapolis or New York City. Now, people talk about the storms. So the storms, I have a weather app on my phone, so the weather storms are pretty predictable, and I'm thankful for that. Like if there's a hailstorm or a tornado warning, I know right away, and I know to get the F out, or I know to bundle up and go to the middle of my house. Yeah, it's not bad. Like, everything's predictable and everything can be accounted for easily. So my arm is tired. I'm switching to my other hand. Now let's talk about things to do. People say Texas is flat and boring. Well, what I see is that Dallas has a lot of up and coming areas. So I got like Lower Greenville, Deep Ellum, Plano's building up a lot of stuff. So it's really not bad. I follow that Instagram, Best Food Dallas, and they really tell me about where to go next and what to do to keep up with the new places. Dallas is home to some awesome barbecue like Pecan Lodge. There's some good ramen shops, awesome Mexican restaurants, amongst many others. So I'm feeling pretty good here in Dallas. In terms of multicultural places, they got Korean, the Vietnamese, the Chinese, all that stuff. So up in Plano, you know, all the Chinese people are there. All the Indian people are in Irving. All the Koreans are in Carrollton. So it's, if I want to go somewhere and eat well or see places of different cultures, you know, I could do that here. totally fine. Now, another thing is people really love their state here in Texas. On YouTube, I got that overwhelming amount of responses from a whole variety of people saying they want to preserve the nature of Texas. And I understand it. I understand that California is a liberal state. I understand that Texas is a conservative state, and I'm trying to make my living here in Texas. And I know that the policies that, high taxes and everything, it really kills all this other stuff. And I'm not going to go into all that in depth, but I just want to, throw that out there that it really is different in that sense. And I understand why Texans want to preserve the state. And, me being here, I am not a guy that's trying to bring policies over to here, so. But yeah, there's a lot of comments where people are so heated about, keep Texas as it is, keep it conservative and all that. And I understand where people come from. I understand that people are proud of their state, and I'm glad that people are proud of their state. So if there's anything I can say on that, I can say that the people here in Texas love knowing that they are the true conservative state, just like California knows that they are the true liberal state. Texas is big and proud. There's no socialism, there's no liberalism, no taxes, etc. I can go shoot my gun, I can go race on the track, and no one will touch me here. I'm pretty good. Texas has the awesome big Texas State Fair that happens every year. That is something that you definitely should go to. It's part of the culture of Texas, so definitely go to the Texas State Fair. It really shows the Texas pride, and of course the Texas pride is something that is different from what I see in California. And I'll just mention something like this, like everywhere I go in Texas, there's always a big Texas flag and a big American flag. When I was in California, I didn't really see that, and I don't know why, but that's California and this is Texas, and hey, Texas is good in that way. So another thing is I'm a pretty big shopper, and I realized that Dallas has a good amount of shops. I got the Yves Saint Laurent, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, they're all here. So if I want to go out and shop for something luxurious, I could go ahead and do that, no problem at all. Now here in Texas, I noticed that they like to bundle up their shops a lot. So if I go to Arlington or Irving or Plano, there's always a couple of shops that I can count on being there, like Best Buy, Walmart, Home Depot, Kohl's, Ross, TJ Maxx, Chick-fil-A, and Chipotle. They're always in every single city that I visit, and it's crazy to see them like every couple of miles when I'm driving in Texas. So if you miss it in one city, just no problem. Just go to the next one and then you'll see it over there. So that could be a con for some people because they don't want cookie cutter chain type shops in every city. So I understand that, and I could see some comments around that as well when people saying, hey, there's not enough variety. Well, if there's variety that I want, I can go to like Greenville, as I said, or other places, and that's what keeps me busy. All right, now for the taxes. So the tax money actually goes into the things I see here in Texas compared to in other states. There's full transparency, and it shows the breakdown for me in my tax bill. It's like I can see it goes to local transportation, hospitals, schools, and then I see a new hospital built in that city or a new school. So I could see that the money that I pay in taxes actually comes out into something that I can use. So that's pretty nice to see. The roads getting fixed up and everything. The roads are pretty smooth for the most part. If there's a pothole, I report it, and then it gets fixed, and I'm happy again. And now for the travel. So given that I'm in a consulting type of industry, IT role, having the DFW airport really helps a lot. So you got the business travelers like me, I can get anywhere because it's a central hub. I can get to Qatar, China, Australia, Europe. They're all accessible from here in Dallas, and I'm really happy about that. The places in the continental US are accessible within like a 2 to 3 hour flight, so that's pretty cool. Like I can hop on a flight to California every single month, and then it's probably going to cost like $100 for the weekend. Florida, New York, no problem. Just $100-$200 and then just go over there, no problem. And sometimes I'll drive down to Houston just for fun and enjoy the beach. So I went to Galveston recently out here in December. It was like 65 degrees and sunny. Pretty nice place to be, pretty relaxing. Now for the cars and roads. So for all the car people out there, I do see a heck of a lot of like Nissan Skyline R32 from Japan here. And it's easier to import here to Texas than it is to California. This is an interesting thing that I noticed coming into Texas. It's called the Texas turnaround. So it's kind of like this. When you exit a freeway and you want to go to the other side, you would make a left turn at a traffic light, a left turn at another traffic light, then you'd be on your way. So here it's got a turnaround where if you just want to go from here and get to the other side, like a U-turn, there is a dedicated left lane just for that, and that's really cool. It saved me so much time rather than waiting at traffic light 1, traffic light 2, and then continuing on my way. Alright, and there's the car registration as well. So it costs a flat rate to register the car yearly, so it's like less than $100 a year, rather than in California where I'd pay like high number that gets lower over time. So depending on the value of your car, that may be good or bad. So like your Maserati is going to cost the same to register as your Toyota. And now for the proximity of things. So let's say you live in like Midlothian, which is very south of Dallas, and then you want to get to Plano, which is quite north of Dallas. So it is 52 miles tip to tip, and I could make that in like 52 minutes in off work hours. Of course, when there is work, then it takes about an hour and 30 minutes, so a bit longer because the traffic that's coming right through. So just keep that in mind. And then let's talk about the workplace. So just some observations. I haven't really experienced any racism in my year here in Texas. People that you speak to are more likely to be conservative, well, most likely. Even the younger generation. People here are more likely to speak their mind. They are blunt, and they are not politically correct. So, of course, in California, they call it the snowflake state because they like to sugarcoat their words and all that stuff. So that's the difference that I noticed. So it is easier to joke about much more sensitive topics if you're in Texas than if you are in California, because Californians would find it offensive, or Texas, they probably wouldn't. So now that's my list of observations on the pros side. So now on the con side, I'm going to talk about, the weather. It was a pro, but it's also a con. The weather between June and August is hot, but it is not Vegas hot. You'll see like triple digit temperatures, but not like 120 degrees Arizona or Las Vegas style. The DMV is something I really hate here. It is insane. Like, they didn't take new appointments for new licenses, so it took me about 5 hours to get a driver's license. And 4 of those hours was waiting in the line. Now, the property taxes are appraised yearly by the Dallas County Appraisal District, and they're guaranteed to go up every single year, which they have. I've seen a friend that's paid like $5,000 in taxes, now it becomes like $10,000 a year. So for me, being in like a $150,000 house, it appraised at much lower before, but now it is higher because of all the demand. So the appraisal values like doubled in the last 5 years, and subsequently the taxes have done the same thing. Even if you have the homestead exemption, which I highly recommend that you register for if you're living in a house in Texas. So on the property tax side, you're looking at about 2% to 2.6% of the property value per year, with increases of about 10% a year in most areas, even with the homestead exemption. So just factor that in if you're trying to buy a house in Texas. The closing times of stores is something I'll register as a con, because while there are some up and coming areas, demand is still growing with it. So that means only the bars, the Walmart, and the Whataburger will stay open until 2 a.m. So I understand this is not Los Angeles, this is not New York City where it's overpopulated and you can be drinking bubble tea at 2 a.m. yet, but as things grow, that may be the case. And then travel was a pro, but it's also a con because of this. So given that the business travelers fly a lot out of DFW, people like myself, the flight prices do get jacked up for normal people depending on the destination. I understand that there is a direct flight year-round to Europe and Asia that goes for like $1,100 to $1,500 year-round. So I really have to catch that like 1 minute window where there's a price mistake and I can catch it for like $500 to $600. Wow. And now another con would be some of the roads. A lot of the roads here are flat and straight, so unless you have a Hellcat or like a Bentley or a Maserati, there are no places where you can really make all those nice turns and all that stuff. There's no canyons or twisties unless you go down into Austin, which I live in the Dallas area, so everything is straight, and it's nice to have a V8 muscle car to just run through the gears and go straight. So yeah guys, that's pretty much all my observations after living here for 1.5 years in Texas. So far I like it, and I wouldn't want to go back to California at this point. And that's pretty much my viewpoint. Feel free to agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next video. Bye.